and welcome to the Craft Beer Corner. For today's beer review, we're jumping in to a beer from Sweetwater Brewing Company. They have a couple locations. I feel like they used to be based in Athens, Georgia, but on the can it clearly states either Fort Collins, Colorado, or Atlanta. Being that I'm in the Southeast, I have to assume this was produced in Atlanta. But nonetheless, this is much like the Sam Adams reviews we recently did. This is one of two new beers in their IPA variety pack that they put out. We've already reviewed two of them that are already in there, but there's two new ones. And the first of those we are reviewing today is called Gone Trippin', and it is a West Coast style IPA that clocks in at 7% ABV. In terms of label art on here, it's kind of got like this kind of hippie tie-dye vibe going on. Not sure the significance of that, but it is what it is. It's colorful, typical Sweetwater. There's not crazy art, but they do have kind of different color schemes and designs on their cans. So visually appealing, we'll call it that. We're gonna get this cracked gently, and we're gonna use our nice all-purpose Sam Adams glass today. This works well on these nice little 12-ounce cans. So let's just get this poured right in. Oh yeah, it's pouring lovely, lovely. We'll speed it up a little bit here at the end. I don't want to go overboard on the start of the pour, so the head doesn't go crazy. Yep, that did form quite a nice head though. Get all that in there. I can already smell it. This one has a very pungent aroma. Very pungent indeed. So visually, yeah, it's a nice, true kind of golden yellow color. It looks lovely. Very active in terms of carbonation. I see mostly tight, tiny, fine champagne-like carbonation rushing up, but a little bit of some medium-sized carbonation bubbles coming up as well. Did form a nice, thick, rich, creamy head here. Let's get right up over this for a full sniff. Wow, yeah. Okay, so what I'm getting on the nose on here, in general, it smells very nice. It's very much leading with a blend of citrus and tropical. So there's a little bit of grapefruit, a little bit of orange, a little bit of lemon zest. And I'm definitely getting pineapple and passion fruit on the nose. And there's also this underlying earthiness to it. So we're getting quite a lot of the typical, what you might find on a nose on an IPA in particular profile. It smells very nice. It's got kind of a blend of different aromas. So I don't know the exact hop bill on this beer. We'll just have to do our best guess. But obviously multi-different hop varieties to make this IPA to be smelling like this. And West Coast style, I'm expecting this to have a bit more of a hop bittering punch to it. Obviously some nice dry hopping here to make these big pungent aromas. So let's just jump right in and see what this one is about. Take one. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a nice IPA. That's big. West Coast style, absolutely, yeah, you know what you're getting into it with Sweetwater. They're not shy with the hops, and this is definitely a nice West Coast style from an East Coast company interpretation. Very bold, very pungent, big kick of bitters. If I had to put a number to it, I would guess to my palate perception, it's at least in the 65 to 75, 80 range. It's quite pronounced. You get a big kick of bitters. The bitters that comes on this is kind of a combination of earthy and pine kind of resinous, which would be very prototypical for a West Coast style IPA. Any way you slice it, they love those big pine resiny hops out there. I absolutely love them. And Sweetwater clearly took their inspiration from the classic West Coast style formula and used these big West Coast hops. Very nice. So on the nose, we got a lot of citrus, we got some kind of tropical fruit, and we got some underlying earthiness. In the flavor profile, I'm getting a little bit of citrus. On this one, it's very much strongly the kind of citrus oil, kind of rind side that tends to be a lot more naturally bitter anyway. In this, it's kind of a combo of blood orange and grapefruit. That's what I'm getting on my palate. But then there's this big pine and resin and tar kind of flavor that pops through, as well as intense earthiness. I'm not really getting any kind of tropical fruit flavors on the nose, nothing, or on the palate, nothing floral. It's very much an earthy with a little bit of this citrus oil and kind of rind and big pine and tar. It leans very heavily on the kind of pine tar resin in tandem with earthy. That's the big punch of it, and I love it. That is very much a classic West Coast style IPA formula. So bravo, Sweetwater, for your interpretation. I think it is fantastic. So, aside from the bittering kick and this nice underlying kind of nuance of the hops, you get this underpinning of the malt bill that comes in really on the front side. It's got a very classic kind of grainy quality to it. It's almost this very neutral base, which would be a typical kind of expectation in an IPA. So for my money, their hop blend, great on the aroma, incredible on the flavor profile, and the balance of kind of the hops, which should be the star of the show, and they definitely are, but also with the grains that they chose, excellent. So a lot to process, guys, a big beer. I'm going to jump back in for a second sip. We'll pick this apart, make sure I didn't miss anything critical. Then we'll talk about the balance and the finish. Yes, delicious. So, before we even go down that tangent, I neglected to mention, because I had a lot I was processing, body and mouthfeel. The body on this, it's got nice presence to it. I would say it's heftier than you would expect for a 7% ABV IPA. That's kind of middle of the road average or high middle. It's got presence. I would say this borders on a strong medium, almost getting into medium heavy. For 7%, it's very impressive. The mouthfeel, I gotta say also, there's a nice bit of resistance. It punches above its weight class. For 7%, this beer has a lot more presence, both weight and mouthfeel wise, and that intensity of flavor. It really just works, and it's only 7%. So it depends upon your perspective, but I'm a big fan. So nothing new on second sip. Everything that I got on the first sip was just reconfirmed and got re-intensified. And this is one with long lingering bitters. So for me, we already talked about the balance when I was talking about the nuance here. Yeah, it's great. I think they absolutely nailed it. It's a West Coast style IPA. It should lead aromatically and flavor-wise with the hops, but it's not overshadowing the underlying malt bill as well. You can really get that kind of grainy sense in there. It's a nice neutral base, so I would say the balance is perfect. In terms of the finish, it's quite long. This is a very bitter-forward IPA, as most West Coast style IPAs are, and kind of meeting my expectation here. It's quite long. It does linger on the palate long after each sip. On this one, it does linger on the back of the palate, and it's very much a combo of two lingering hop flavor profiles. Strong pine tar resin in tandem with earthiness. And that is the two best flavor combination combos out of a hop bill you could get for a West Coast style IPA, in my personal opinion. I think they absolutely nailed this. Guys, this is a really well done West Coast style IPA. It's my favorite sub-style. Sweetwater, I drink their beers often. They are quite well known for the IPAs, and this is another winner. Folks, I'm going to take my time, sip on this, go at my scores. When we come back, we will get this beer ranked from top to bottom. All right, now that we've gotten to enjoy this beer, we're going to get it ranked. This was Sweetwater Brewing Company's Gone Trippin', one of two new beers in their IPA variety pack. We've reviewed two of them before. This is the first of two new ones. This one was great, guys. This is a West Coast style IPA, clocking in at 7% ABV, Sweetwater based in Atlanta, Georgia, at least on my side in the East Coast. That's the location they would have brewed it. So guys, this was a very impressive West Coast style IPA. This absolutely put me in mind of any West Coast IPA that I've gotten from a West Coast brewer. Yeah, Sweetwater originated on the East Coast. They now have kind of a mountain brewing op as well, but they're very much an East Coast business. And their replication of what makes a West Coast style IPA a West Coast style IPA, I think they absolutely nailed. Indeed, guys, this is one of those beers that we do not need to go through the entire list from top to bottom. because we have one more in that small minority illustrious crowd that did get a perfect 10 out of 10 in all categories. So down our list, of course, that's aroma, taste, body, mouthfeel, finish, head and retention, appearance, balance, feeling/intangible, my subjective thoughts, and example of this style. So Sweetwater Brewing Company's Gone Trippin' does get a perfect 100 and well earned. It's been a while since I've had a West Coast style IPA I enjoyed this well. And I know that Sweetwater very much is quite well known for being an IPA brewer. They brew obviously different styles as well, but they have a lot of IPAs. They really focus heavily on IPAs. And I know this because it's one of my favorite styles of beer. So I know a lot of the beers. I saw they had new ones, so I knew I was going to grab it. And then when I saw West Coast IPA, I said, ha, yeah, there we go. And absolutely, it met my expectations and exceeded them. They really nailed it from top to bottom on this one. I mean, this is just a perfect example of what a West Coast style IPA is. Bravo to you, Sweetwater guys. If you're a fan of West Coast style IPAs, the more hop forward, the more bitter forward, or just IPAs in general, guys, I would recommend this one all day long. And thankfully, this is one you can find in your grocery store. This is easy to get your hands on, so you don't have to jump to Tavour or Craft Shack. I'm sure you might be able to find this on Craft Shack, but it is available nationwide in most markets in grocery stores now. So check your cooler section and see if they have the Variety IPA pack, or if they have this Gone Trippin' standalone in 6-packs. That's a thing Sweetwater does as well. Folks, that is today's review. As always, I do sincerely appreciate you tuning in today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to stay in the loop when our videos go live, just turn on your notifications by hitting that bell icon. Until next time, keep it beer, keep it craft. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.